Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to show you how to calculate averages for multiple systems with multiple trials per system. Alright, so in this case I have 8 different systems, and per system I have 3 different trials. And I want to average each of these 3 trials and put the average number in this cell right here, under the column average absorbance. Okay, so you don't have to understand necessarily the theory behind what this is, but I'm just going to show you how to calculate averages. The good thing about this technique for programming the Excel, or numbers depending, is you can knock out many systems in literally less than a minute. Now you could do this all by hand and it would take a very long time, but I'm just going to show you how to knock it out very quickly. So in this box where I have average, I'm going to hit equals and it brings up the function. I'm going to type AVER and it brings up average. For the value, I can either type it in or I can just simply highlight the cells that I want and just hit enter, and there's my average. Now because I'm doing the exact same thing on all of these, I'm going to look at this cell right here, and I'm going to look at this little yellow dot at the bottom, which is on numbers. On Excel, I believe it's on one of the corners, but it's something similar, and you just click, hold, and drag down to encompass all the cells that you want. And now all the averages are right here. Okay, these are all the averages. All right. Now, next thing I want to do is I want to look at calculating the standard deviation. Now, this is a problem on numbers. I don't know how it is on Microsoft Excel, but I'll show you what I mean. And this is especially apparent if you're using a laptop that has a smaller screen. If I hit equals, I can hit STD and I come up with standard deviation. Now, I can't actually scroll over because if I click to scroll over, then I have a bunch of weird stuff on here. So let me get out of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over to the cells that I want to take the standard deviation of, and that's just these 3 right here. I'm going to look and say, okay, this is cell B2. Okay, I'm going to hit equals, pull up standard deviation, hit STD. There we go, and I'm going to hit or type in cell B2. Now wait a minute, and it'll just bring it over to that, and then I can go ahead and highlight these cells and just hit enter, and there's my standard deviation right here. And I can go ahead and do this for all of these systems by looking at this cell, hitting the little yellow dot, click, hold, and drag down, and there's all the standard deviations right there. Okay? Now, in this particular method, if I had hundreds and hundreds of these, even thousands, it's much better to do it this way, to program one cell and then just do the yellow button, drag it all down, because you can literally knock out hundreds or thousands potentially in less than a minute. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to graph absorbance versus concentration. In other words, I want a graph that has an average absorbance on the y-axis and concentration on the x-axis. We talked about this in another video, but basically if I was to just highlight this like that, and I go to Insert, Chart, 2D Scatter Plot, I get something that looks like this. Here's the problem though. I want concentration on the x-axis, and here it's on the y-axis. Okay? Because the general rule of thumb is, in both Excel and numbers, when you highlight these cells, the ones you want to graph, the one that's on the left is going to be on the x-axis. There's multiple methods to do this, but here's the method I prefer. And this brings up a good point. I want to copy the absorbance values here. All right? Now what I have to do, I come over here to absorbance and I want to paste them here. If I hit Command V or Control V, I want you to notice something. Look, the averages I get on there are actually different than they are here. The reason they're different is because instead of just pasting numbers that I just wrote in there, there's calculations or functions in there. Ultimately, I want to copy both the function and the number. So when I get to the cell that I want to start at, I go to Edit, and I want to hit the Paste Formula Results. And that will put the functions in there as well. Okay? And then for concentration, I'm just going to copy these. Now these I just wrote in here, so I can just hit over here on concentration, Command V, and it'll paste those. And then I can go ahead and graph these, Insert, Chart, 2D Scatter Plot, and I get this. All right, so what I want to do now is I want to plot a linear trend line. Now there's and I'm also going to put error bars in this that indicate the standard deviation of each point. Now when I'm doing that, I want to make sure to do this. I want to bring the graph up here for just a minute because I want when I'm looking at my graph and clicking, I want the standard deviation column easily accessible. So I'm going to go to the graph, go to series, go to trend lines and linear. Trend lines linear, and that brings up the line of best fit. And I can go ahead and show the equation and the r-squared value. Okay, but now what I want to do is I want to show y-axis error bars. These are the standard deviations in the absorbance. So I'm going to go to positive and negative. Okay, now that doesn't look right. And that's because I haven't indicated what the error bars represent. They have a fixed value. I never want to use that. I'm going to click on Use and Custom Values. And here's what I'm going to do. On positive, remember that standard deviations, the way they're expressed is you write the mean, or the average, plus or minus the standard deviation. Because the standard deviation for most applications goes in the positive and negative direction. That's why it's plus or minus of the mean. Okay. Now in some cases you might want only positive or only negative. In that case you can select positive only or negative only. I'm going to show you positive and negative. So what I'm going to do is come over here to 10 and erase that. So now that the cursor is blinking, I'm going to go to standard deviation and highlight all of these. And those are highlighted, just hit enter. Okay. And then come over to negative and do the exact same thing. Erase these, come over here to the standard deviation, highlight those, hit enter, and there you go. So let me go ahead and move this back down. All right. And what you can see on each of these points is approximately what the standard deviation is. So this point right here where my mouse is has a smaller standard deviation than the one to the right or left of it. Okay, so the size of these error bars indicates the size of the standard deviation. So we should expect 6 or 0.6 concentration to have a lower standard deviation than 0.7. And let's go back up, and 0.6 sure enough has a lower standard deviation than 0.7 or 0.5. Okay? So hopefully that makes sense how to put error bars in there. If I wanted to only put positive error bars, let's do that. So for positive error bars, it automatically took the negative ones out. Now I can switch that to negative only, and notice how the error bars flip and it's only negative now. But let's just keep it at positive and negative. Okay, so hopefully that made sense. We'll go over some other statistical concepts in another video. Thanks for watching this. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for future videos and notifications. Thank you.